bringing you the road to the Olympic House. Talking about the Olympic House, let me give you a bit of brief. When we talk about the Olympic House, we're talking of Ghana's, where we house the Ghana Olympic Committee in this part of our world. Well, so for the first time in 8 years, we're going to see a new president for the Ghana Olympic Committee, and that is happening on Saturday the 26th at the Accra International Conference Center. And we are heavily involved in that here at GHOne TV. That's why we're bringing you this particular all-important discussion or roundtable discussion we'll be having with those who are standing for the presidency, as well as other candidates also who've joined us in the studio.
Now remember, we are live here on GHOne TV, also live on Star 103.5 FM. We are also live on social media. As always, you are the co-host and we welcome you onto the show. Now today, it is the road to the Ghana Olympic House. Who becomes the next president? Now, as the clock ticks down to the Ghana Olympic Committee, GOC elections, the race for the presidency is heating up, with key stakeholders in the sports fraternity watching closely. All eyes are on who will steer the Olympic movement in the Ghana for the next 4 years. Will we see continuity, a shake-up in leadership, or a surprise candidate rising through the ranks? This forum is the space to dive into the profiles of the contenders, their track records, manifestos, and what their leadership could mean for athletes, federations, and Ghana's international sporting image. Let's unpack the politics, potential, and pulse of this high-stakes election. Who do you think deserves the keys to the Ghana Olympic House?
Well, your guest might be as right as ours here on GHOne TV. We've got quite august people in the house. We'll be introducing them also in the course of the program. We've got most of the federation heads who've joined us here to grace this occasion, and it's just a sight to behold them in the studio here to grace this particular one for us as we count down to the big day that is on Saturday as they go to the polls with regards to the Ghana Olympic Committee and the presidency, who becomes the first, second, third vice president. Interesting. We've got first, second, third vice president.
And lots of candidates as well vying for other positions
and lots of things to talk about also. For me, I'm glad we have the likes of Richard Akpokavi, who's been the Secretary General. He also stood last 4 years against President Benno Mensah, who says he's no longer going to vie for that position after 8 good years. And then Mike Agre, who also comes in with depth of,
knowledge.
Exactly.
From golf?
Well, not only golf, Monica, but then he has, you need people not just from, the sporting background. He has vast knowledge when it comes to insurance, when it comes to finance. So, you need to talk sports business sometimes. So,
but many have known him to be a golf person. So you have others thinking that perhaps he's going to be more closer to the golfing side or to other federations as well.
Well, you never know. And we know Richard Akpokavi is also heavy when it comes to hockey. He's seen it all, and he even played it. He's captain, host of the national teams when it comes to hockey. He's also steered the front when it comes to hockey, and a host of them. Well, so we'll be telling you more about them also. That is Richard Akpokavi and Mike Agre, who are standing for the presidency of the Ghana Olympic Committee. But importantly, in the house, we've been joined by a lot of people who are in the studio with us. We'll be introducing them as time goes on. But Monica, I think I see it's great to have the
Director General of the National Sports Authority is none other by my own very brother, Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah.
Shall we give him a clap?
Great to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
I know it's like short notice, but then you're able to make it out of your busy schedule and you are here with us.
So, definitely we'll be speaking to Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah pretty shortly, who is the Director General for the National Sports Authority. They also work in conjunction, or they work closely with the Ghana Olympic Committee. And definitely we are expecting to see in the House pretty soon the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, who will also be joining us in the studio pretty soon, Monica.
Presently, he is at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. Today is the CAF African Schools Championship, and it's starting today at the Legon University of Ghana Stadium, and he's there to go through the normal activities that as a minister he's supposed to do. So from there, he certainly will be here to grace those occasions as well, and every other questions that we need to ask because we want to see a new phase in sports. And he mentioned that the Ghana Olympic Committee is something that is on his heart because it is the future of Ghana sports. We don't only do football. We have a lot of sports here in Ghana, and the Ghana Olympic Committee is the one that supersedes all these other sports. So the future of Ghana sports depends solely also on them as well.
Exactly. I see notable faces in the house. I see President for Ghana Fencing, Mahadi is in the house. And also we've got weightlifting in the house. We've got women's sports in the house, and lots of them who are joining us for this particular program. So wherever you're watching us from or you're listening to us on Star 103.5 FM, make sure that you tell a friend to tune in. We're going to give you nothing but the best. And also we'll be shuttling to go back in the past, quickly bringing you some few things you need to know about Ghana so far at the Olympics, how many times we've been at the Olympics, how many contingents we've sent there, what they've been able to bring us, and what have you. Then we delve into the most important thing that you're all waiting for, that is the important discussion we'll be having with the candidates as well. So most of them here also vying for certain roles will be joining us here to tell us what role they are vying for, what we should expect from them as well.
So maybe perhaps we need to begin with the National Sports Authority himself, Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. It's good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's 1 p.m.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very humbled, and I think the last time I was here, I was talking about beach soccer.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is a nice, pleasant change, and I'm here with, I would call them sports family, the ecosystem of sports, from rugby. I can see esports, weightlifting, women in sports. It's great. And my colleague from the Ghana Olympic Committee, the name Sammy Hillwood Okine, yes. So it's great to be here. I commend GHOne for this initiative. This is what we need. Transparency. It's great to have two gentlemen with vision coming to talk about what they want to do in terms of transforming Ghana sports. It's not only the negatives that we should be having as headlines. We're so used to talking about the negatives and the problems and the challenges, but it's refreshing to have two gentlemen who have great vision for sports coming to tell us what they have planned, and then for us to interrogate that and push them to really get the best out of them. So I'm really looking forward to this platform.
Quite interesting. And also, Yaw, tell us, you've been with the GOC for quite some time. You've seen Richard, you've seen, he's been the Secretary General. Yeah. You've seen Mike Agri also on the board of the GOC, and you happen to play a key role there with Sam Haywood Okine. What new are you expecting to see probably in the coming future? Because for 8 good years, we've seen Benunu Mensah. He says he's no longer standing. What new are you expecting to see?
Yeah, and also kudos to President Benunu Mensah for taking that decision. I think he's done the right thing. He's done his homework, and he's seen that he's done his best, and sometimes you need to pave way for others to also try to bring their A game on board. So my greetings to him, my utmost respect to President Benunu Mensah. He's excelled, done a great job. I've been privileged to travel on a few tournaments with him, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, and share a few successes. The first African Beach Games, we got bronze, and he's a great leader. And he's done his best for the Ghana Olympic Committee. We know that he comes from a very strong sporting background, including cricket, I believe, weightlifting. So he has immense skills and networking. So this is now a new era where there will be a new president, whether it will be Mr. Michael Edum Agri or lawyer Richard Apokavi. These two gentlemen are bringing something quite extraordinary to the table. These are exciting days. I just hope that whoever becomes president is able to work with the other party so that we have a clear path going forward. What I expect is that the business of sports becomes, a key player in all of this. We've had conversations in the past where the players perhaps have lost sight of the fact that sports is a big business. You know, we're talking about 700 billion industry, which could be a trillion anytime soon. How is Ghana positioning itself in that space? It's very important. You need a leader who can share his ideas and also be all-inclusive and embracing, so that, you know, if you have people with divergent views, you'll be able to embrace them and take from them what you can to use in your own space. And I think that is what has been missing in the past. United front, so that we move Ghana to the next level of sports in Ghana, in Africa and the world.
Now, let me ask you, since you are the National Sports Authority and you also supersede like all the stadiums in the country as well. Now, one of them mentioned during our conversations with him here on the show, on the game, that, you know, prior to this, or perhaps 4 years ago, we never used to have any serious campaign. They only come 2 days to time. There's no synergy when it comes. So this time around, they're going to do maybe 1 month campaign, and it starts from here. How are we going to use our stadiums and other things to help the track and field and also other sporting events as well?
I think infrastructure is perhaps one of our major challenges. We have great stadia in almost every region, and the key ones, obviously, in the Western region. Unfortunately, Esipong has become a white elephant. The Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi has challenges. Accra Sports Stadium has challenges. Tamale, you know, we have a challenge when it comes to maintenance. Apart from the culture, we don't have what I would call a standing maintenance fund, which means that we shouldn't wait for there to be, you know, problems.
Yeah.
We should anticipate. And if we have a maintenance fund, regardless of whatever the challenges are, we should be able to, you know, address them by going into that fund and dealing with, you know, whatever is necessary. Camping is great if you have the right facilities. It saves you money from traveling to neighboring countries who are more resourced, or even in Europe or Asia. You can save that money and use that into other areas where it would help the athletes, to motivate them. So infrastructure, and in particular stadia, is very critical. And my boss, the sports minister, Honorable Kofi Adams, has joined us, and I'd like to acknowledge him. And he'll tell us also more about the bigger picture in terms of how we intend to use our stadia to the best of its capacities. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So that was the Director General for the National Sports Authority, Yaw Ampofo Ankrah, telling us a lot what he's expecting today from Mr. Richard Akpokavi as well as Mike Aggrey. Yeah, Mr. Richard Akpokavi Esquire. You need to add
Certainly.
that one. Yeah.
So we have other federation heads in the house as well, but we are graced to have the honor of the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Mr. or Honorable Kofi Adams, in the house. Honorable, you're welcome, sir.
Well, thank you.
I know it's been a busy day for you. I'm coming all the way from the University of Ghana Sports Stadium for the CAF School Championship.
Well, it's been quite a busy day, but that's the work we've been elected to do, so we have to carry on.
All right. So, Honorable, we have just 2 days. Today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then we are going for the Congress, Ghana Olympic Committee, where we will select or elect our first president after Benunu Mensah. As the sports minister, I want to know what are some of the policies or initiatives that you are looking forward to from Mike Aggrey and then also Richard Akpokavi, who are vying for the presidency for the Olympic Committee.
Well, thank you first and foremost for the invitation to join you in these discussions, and I'm happy that various media platforms now continue to create platforms such as this, pre-Congress discussion and post-Congress discussions in areas that will help us grow our sports, because this is a huge and a very big industry that we must not just leave for commentary purposes only, but we must discuss it as a serious matter, discuss it as a social intervention that will take us out of poverty. what do I expect from these two great gentlemen who are vying for the position of the president of GOC? GOC is, for me, a very, very big platform. Indeed, GOC should be leading the charge because they have many sports, including football, to manage. Because if for nothing at all, they are responsible for our U23 also. So they are managing virtually every facet of what? Sports. And if they organize themselves, focus and look at grassroots sports, because for every sports to reach the Olympic level, you must make sure you invest right from the grassroots. So whoever becomes the president of GOC, their policy should be geared towards investing in the grassroots. They may not alone be able to do the appropriate infrastructure that will allow that to happen, but proper collaboration with government and corporates will enable them utilize the gravitas, the strength, the opportunity that they have to mobilize what must be mobilized. So we invest appropriately. Our pitches, our training facilities, our gyms, simple tennis courts. When we were growing up and young those days, most schools have multi-purpose pitches where you have basketball court, you have volleyball court, you have the lawn tennis, and you could just redesign the pitch for all these other sports. Today, all such spaces have been taken over. So I will be expecting GOC, in collaboration with NSA and the ministry, together with the local government ministry and the other ministries that are related, to work towards protecting, and of course the Ministry of Education. Luckily for us, we have a minister himself who loves sports. Not only is he one who has a football club, but he plays it himself. One of the common things you will find in Honorable Haruna's vehicle will be a football boot. If you search 1-2 of his vehicles, you find football boots and something that he could use for training. And so he loves sports himself. So we are in the best of times to be able to see Ghana really move very, very far. The president himself has exhibited his love for sports, and that explains why he decoupled the youth from the sports ministry and had introduced recreation to sports. So we are in the best of times. The president's household, they are lovers of what? Sports in there. Sharaf, the son, is doing so much, investing in various facets of what? Sports. So for me, this is the best of times. And the work for the next leadership of GOC is very well defined. We must move on. We should be able to see the completion of their investment in the Amasaman Olympic project. They should be able to complete it so it can serve the purpose for which the BT Baba-led leadership acquired that land, and Benunu Mensa leadership continued some levels of what? Investment and securing the land title and everything for that facility. We should be able to finish that and maybe do something in some of the regions also. And of course, they must support NSA to bring discipline to the federations. Most federations are not disciplined at all, and it has not helped the growth of sport. And I will not mince words with that. Some of them have just run these federations like family and friends. You see a husband and then a wife and then the daughter or the son are executives. You cannot run sports that way. The corporate governance. I know, yes, they will tell you it's their constitution, but there's a way you can guide as GOC by offering that kind of leadership under the huge umbrella body. And support to federations should be fair and maybe balanced. It should be fair and balanced. It should not be that, oh, when I was contesting, maybe these persons didn't support me. This one spoke against me. So even if the federation has the potential, I'm going to punish them. or I'm going to punish a particular athlete because I didn't see them come out to support me. That should not be part of their policies, because me, I will be watching. I'll be watching and I will speak out and I will call you out. So I don't expect anything but this from them. And when we do that, we will be able to grow our sports. We'll be able to grow our sports. I keep telling people the sports ecosystem globally is now over $700 billion. I'm told within the shortest possible time, we are going to hit $1 trillion. How are we positioning ourselves? So that today that we see it as social intervention, by tomorrow, we will also be benefiting from these monies that are being mentioned. It should not just be sounds in our ears, but we should be able to what? Feel it. With the right approach, with the right messaging, Ghanaians will fall for, and they will do what is right, and together we will rally and grow our sports. So, GOC elections, I wish them well. I'm not a delegate. I'm a minister. I will be observing and I will be watching. May the best win. And whoever wins, know that every other person who contested has something to offer. So there should be a way to bring them on board. There should be a way. The governing board must also be prepared to support the leadership so as to be able to grow our sports.
Honorable, just a second. If I want to just, because people also want to know, talking about sponsorship for the Olympic Committee, anytime there is, we go 4 years. Over the years, sometimes they struggle. You hear about sponsorship, they need to have sponsorship for that. Sometimes athletes are complaining of their per diems and all that. It's been your very first time in office, and you trying to see to it that all sporting events gets equal attention and all that. How are you going to come in to make sure that these problems are resolved, to give these athletes that go out there to compete for the country have that kind of peace of mind to go all out and not having any problems on their mind that, oh, we are being owed per diems, we didn't get this, we didn't get that?
Well, funding remains a huge challenge. And I will not sit here and pretend that it's going to be an easy one. It is not. But one of the things we have set out to do is to make sure that we have our sports fund. Countries that have done so well and have had Olympic cycle support for the various sporting events have established a sports fund. That would allow you to support these athletes to engage in various performances, various smaller competitions all the years round. You don't wait till the Olympic year before you gather athletes to go and do some little 1 month or 2 months of training and say they are going to compete at that level. Their performance would not reach the medal zone. So they will just go and participate and come back home. We must have an Olympic cycle support for our athletes. That if it's in the area of sprints, don't wait for them. That in the year of the Olympics, 2028, that's when we are selecting athletes, few months, get together and do something. Right from the last, you must continue organizing events, giving them the opportunity to train and reach that level that they should reach. It's become difficult. If you take athletics as an example, those times, schools level, we used to have sports maybe every year. It got to a point, for whatever reasons, whether funding and time, sports became secondary. And already we named it extracurricular. So anytime we do not have time and we do not have money, it's the first thing we yank off. Oh, sports can go. Choral competition should go. This one should go. That is why, once again, government wants to bring back school sports and elevate it to a point where it will not just be controlled by GES alone, but there will be some level of collaboration between the Sports Ministry, NSA, and GES and Ministry of Education. So no one person can just decide that for this year we are not doing this particular sport. It has to take another 2 years before we will do it. So we're going to have regular. And the athletes identified, even in the schools, should be given national academies where they can also go and continue to train. It's not like you compete in inter-schools, you do well, you go to the super-zonals, the inter-districts, inter-regionals. Once it's over, you come back to, you hang your training spikes and then your boots or your gloves. There should be opportunity for continuous training. We have to do same for our athletes. That, for me, is the only way that we can reach that higher heights. It's not just about one-time per diems, but the payment of the per diems is important. The payment of winning bonuses is important. But for me, the training facilities and opportunity to have an all-Olympic training cycle is what we should be working towards. But the sports fund is a dream. Can you imagine 34 million Ghanaians? We all decide that every month we are giving 1 cedi towards sports. That's 34 million every month. You can imagine what this will do. We will not have any athlete wanting or qualifying to go for a competition being denied. We will be able to put up a lot more training facilities just because of your 1 cedi you have contributed. And it may be your son, it may be your daughter, it may be your brother, it may be your sister that will be benefiting from the collective contribution of all. And if you have some being able to contribute even 2 cedi and others doing 4 cedi, you are doubling, tripling, and increasing the amount of money that will be available to bring out talents. Yeah. For me, we are in the world of talents. And if we give them opportunity to develop, many will not go to Galamsey sites. Our forests will be saved. Our water bodies will be saved because the youth will have something they will be doing. And so the Galamsey site will not be where they want to go because we would have given them opportunity to bring out their God-given talents. So it's something, sports investment is something we must seriously look at. So when we finally agree and we launch the sports fund, I want voluntarily individuals must begin to make some contribution. They should have no fear of the utilization of the money. Most times what people say is, oh, when we give, maybe they will go and chop it in court. Me, I would open my eyes. And the governance system structure that will be put in place will be such that the funds will not just be controlled by the ministry or by any of the corporate governance will be super. Accountability will be so clear that contributors will see what they are contributing and what it's being used for. Athletes will have to justify continuous investment in them by showing that you are actually training, your performance is improving. If you started with maybe 10.20 seconds for maybe 100 meter, as we invest in you, we expect to see your timing doing what? Improving. Moving from 10.20 to maybe 10.19 to 10.18. Then we know that you are doing something and we should continue to invest in you. But if you start 10.20 and we are investing in you and then now you move to 11.0, we will have to find out maybe why. Yeah. If the why shows that you are not doing the training as you should, we will withdraw the investment. So people's money will not be wasted.
All right, very well spoken. I think the Honorable deserves a clap. Most of the... Yeah, so wherever you're watching us from, we're live here at GHOne TV, and it's an initiative by EIB Sports. We're bringing you the roundtable discussion it's ahead of the all-important Ghana Olympic Committee presidential race on Saturday. So we'll be giving you all the updates, the news, interviews that will come from there, and then we'll tell you who the winner, obviously, of the day on Saturday will be.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
So it is the road to the Olympics.
Exactly.
Saturday will certainly bring you live reports from the ground. From the very first time they enter the premises of the conference center, we will bring you the interviews, everything that you expect to know from the grounds on that day.
All right, we're taking a quick breather. Don't go anywhere. We've still got in the house the Director General for the National Sports Authority, Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah, the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams, also in the house, and a host of the Federation heads who've joined us here for the program. Don't go anywhere. You're still live here on GHOne TV. We'll back shortly. All right, so you're welcome back. You're still live here on GHOne TV, and it's the road to the Olympic House. Talking about Olympic House, I rightly told you before we went for that quick break, is where we house the Ghana Olympic Committee here in Ghana. So that big building, who next will be the president to be in that big building? And that's what we're looking at today. Two of them are supposed to join us in the studio. We're going to be finding out from them their vision. They'll be sharing with us here, with most of the Federation heads who are here, and also the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams. Sometimes I try to bring in the youth.
The youth and sports, yeah, it confuses people a lot, but we try to keep it as it is. So it's sports and recreation.
Exactly, and also we have our very own Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah, who is the Director General for the National Sports Authority. And joining us in this place also is our very own Chief Operations Officer. Yes, the man who has been championing most of the things you see us do here at EIB Sports. So he joins us in the studio. Can we give him a clap? Yeah. So Mr. Santok Singh is our Chief Operations Officer here at EIB Group. He's going to be telling us why his interest is in making sure that most of the federations and most of the disciplines who are least financed, that's the name. Initially we used to say lesser known
sports. It's no longer the lesser known sports.
We know all those sports, right?
One thing that I'm happy about is, back in the days, there's always been football. You can pinpoint just one or two journalists who always stand in for other sports as well. But this time around, it's great news having the CEO of EIB Network championing the sports from arm wrestling, weightlifting, martial arts, volleyball, what have you. It's championing all this to bring to its supporters to also love and continue to see their sports in the limelight as well. So great to have you here, Mr. Santok Singh.
Exactly. So without much ado, let's just hand over to him to find out a bit about him also. That's my boss. He doesn't really like talking. But we just want to find out a few things about him. Boss, thanks for joining us. And it's good to grace the occasion. Most of the Federation heads here are here today because of what the initiative you've championed for us to see materialize. What do you have to tell them, and why EIB supporting most of these least finance sports?
Okay. Thank you so much, Joel, Monica. And again, welcome to our studios, Honorable Minister and my friend Yaw. So, there's a lot of discussion has been done earlier by Honorable Minister Yaw and all that. One of our biggest problem is funding. It's like, how do we fund the sports? How do we bring the sports to another level? Because there's a lot of resources needed to promote the sports. So perhaps my contribution, or the effort I'm making, is like bringing this sports to the limelight. Let people get to know that, okay, there are also other sports that is available and there's potential, people to participate. And also to showcase like what sports can do for them. Because we have a lot of youth, for example, is looking for jobs and everything. So I believe that there's also jobs opportunity through sports. Me, myself, in recent times, I've been involved a lot in volleyball. And I've got to know some information about quite a number of volleyball players has been recruited by the services through sports. So whether it's army, whether it's police force, fire service, and other teams. And there are also players who have been sponsored by schools, universities, with scholarships and all that to further their studies as well. So there is opportunities for us to get jobs through sports. So that's one of the angle that we also should be touching on. Apart from that, at the end of the day, the sponsors or the funders want to see their brand being exposed through the sports and all that. So that's what the role of media. So what we're going to do is like expose the sports to the public so that they can also then participate in supporting. Because like I said, as the Honorable Minister have said, it's like, it needs a lot of resources. So that's the role that EIB Sports can play, EIB can play to expose these sports to the people, so that the interest, people get interest to watch and everything, then the sponsors will come and then support, and they will want to be part of it. So that's what my role is, like, especially the lesser finance sport, because we always been on football. Although football is important, there's no doubt in all that. But I think there are other sports that we also have to bring limelight. Recently, we worked with the Ghana Arm Wrestling Association. Yeah. We are working with the Volleyball Association and other associations to see how together we can sit down. And the next move that I want to do is like meet with the Volleyball Association. And what I'm going to do is like we need to discuss a way of how we can broadcast the sports on our platforms. That means we go record the sports and all that, and then we will do it. So we also need to reach out to you in terms of, because one of the issues that I've realized is the court where they play. Sometimes it's the facilities, it's not suitable. At the moment they play all the games are held at 1 p.m. in the hot sun. Whereas they're supposed to be playing in the covered. So we have Boteman Sports Complex that we can use and things like that. So we can do it together. So I think that's a lot of work media can do. I also urge other media houses to also join in this effort apart from EIB network. So we can all win together for the country.
Sure.
Oh, beautiful. So remember, we are still live here on GHOne TV. We're also live on Star 103.5 FM. Also live on social media, X, so you can join us on X as well. Comment and give us the like button, and then let's get interactive on the show. On the side of the show, Joel, the two candidates, we had earlier interviews with them. We'll have to listen to them to see their vision and mission for vying for this position, and if they win, what do they bring on board to bring that kind of change that will lead in the Ghana Olympic Committee, whether they are continuing or whether they are changing the narrative and the perspective of how we see things at the committee.
Hi, my name is Mike Agre, and I'm vying for the presidency of the GOC in the upcoming elective Congress. What I bring to the table is a rich history of sports administration, which spans over 2 decades. I also have strong interpersonal relationship skills, and I also have strong and viable networking abilities. That gives me the opportunity to engage with corporates and other international bodies that will help to sustain and make the GOC a viable entity. Together, we shall grow the GOC into a stronger and a winning entity that will make Ghanaians proud once again to be part of this country's sporting industry. So come Saturday, I would like to appeal to you delegates to vote for me. Vote for me for a strong and a better GOC. I thank you.
What went into it before you said, okay, Benunu Mensah has stepped now. Let me now take up the mantle.
Okay, thanks very much. Now, first of all, I've been a part of the Olympic movement for quite a while, and in the last 8 years, I've served on the board. So when Ben made a decision not to continue his presidency, I felt that the time had come for one to rise up to the mantle and take on the presidency. First and foremost, to build on legacy, and also it's founded on the basis that I'm looking for unification in the leadership of sports in this country. I think that our front has been fragmented for too long, and that has thwarted the development that we all desire. So those are the two main reasons why I stepped up.
I see. Let me ask you, what will be your vision when voted or put into power?
Okay, thanks very much. The vision is as I've said, first and foremost, I'm looking at unifying the leadership front of sports in this country. It is the only way that we'll go back to winning ways. One of the key cornerstones of that vision is youth and women empowerment. I'm sure you'll be glad to hear that I am an advocate for gender balance and gender equality. And as we speak, the IOC president has recently been voted as president, and she's an African woman, for that matter. And for me, that speaks volumes for the kind of things that we want to do for sports, both in this country and the world over. So youth development and women empowerment is very, very important to me. Athlete welfare, it's also key. If their welfare is taken for granted, then naturally they cannot excel. We want our athletes to go up to the global level and win. So my key goal is for us to go back to winning ways. I make reference to the fact that the recent elections that were held in this country did not provide as much euphoria in this country as the win that the Black Stars had over Madagascar and Chad recently. It is sports that brings excitement to this country. It is sports that develops and grows our morale. And if morale is good, development will come as a natural consequence. So for me, it is important that we go back to our winning ways. These are the cornerstones of my vision.
Exactly. Ms. Aggrah, someone watching us currently might not know who you are. You've been on the board for the GOC. We've seen what you've all helped Ben Nunu Mensah come up with and what he's achieved. But one will ask, who is Mike Aggrah?
Very good question. First of all, I shall summarize by saying that Mike Aggrah is a quiet, confident operator. So a lot of people have not heard of me, nor do they know me.
When you said operator, I was about to say smooth operator.
Yes, but that is probably one of the strengths that I possess. I've been around for quite a while. I was born and raised in Takoradi. I went to school. When I shouldn't say I went to school, I went to the school.
Okay, that's
I'm sure you will understand. Yes, I graduated from there to the University of Ghana.
Ben Nunu Mensah said he went to a college. You are saying you went to the school.
The school. There's only one school. From there, I went to the University of Ghana and graduated and majored in economics. I served my national service at KJB Secondary School teaching for a year. And then I started my work career with Standard Chartered Bank, where I worked for a few years before I sojourned to the UK to do my master's in finance.
Okay.
So after that, I did from practical work, 12 to 15 years in the UK, working in the insurance and the finance industry until I returned to Ghana and completely changed track. So I left the insurance industry and went into the automobile sales at Gold Coast Motors.
Okay.
That's diversification for you.
Very big
also,
one.
that also speaks for versatility.
Very sure.
So I did Gold Coast as commercial manager and then general manager for 5 years, and then I decided to set up on my own. So Tricon Auto Trading Company became my baby from September 1997 to date. From there, I have, of course, I didn't lose the interest in insurance. So InterHealth Consultancy is one of the companies that I set up. I also set up a few other companies. I've sat on several boards, and I currently am the FC for Anilang Company, which is a mining consulting company, and so on. So there are a whole lot of things that I've done. When it comes to sports, and that is the key. What am I doing in sports? Well, I've actually been a sports person all of my life, right from secondary school through to university. I was jumping for my school. When I say jumping, I was doing high jump for my school. I played basketball.
Oh, wow.
And then I as the legs grew weaker, I turned to tennis.
Okay.
Tennis also is not one for weak legs. So
Exactly.
then I graduated, as it were, to golf.
Yes.
And that is
Yeah.
probably what I'm best known for. I've been in golf since 1995.
Sure.
This is my 31st year in golf.
Yeah.
And in golf, I served in several capacities: competition secretary, handicap member, vice captain, captain of the Premier Club, Achimota Golf Club, vice president of the Ghana Golf Association, and president of the
yes.
Ghana Golf Association. Eventually, I allowed the constitution to take its course, so I stepped down in 2022 and took up the mantle of General Secretary or Secretary General of the African Golf Confederation. So that's where we are.
Wow.
Now, let me ask you, have you been impressed with our representation at the Olympics?
What, recently?
Yeah.
No. It's an improvement, but it's not the best. You see, I'm old school, so I know that a lot of people who belong to the same class will recall the days when we were winning. The Rose Harts, the Alice Anums, and when it comes to boxing, like Corte and the professor himself and everything else. So when we go to the Olympic Games, for instance, I was CDM for Tokyo 2020, and we took 14 athletes. At the time, and we took 5 disciplines. It was impressive, but we could have done much more, because we could have gone with football, we could have gone with volleyball. Beach soccer, for instance, is one of our strengths. We were not able to make it. And then come Birmingham 2022, the Commonwealth Games, again, we were not represented in the manner that we ought to have been done. So for me, we need to groom the talent right from the grassroots and make sure that we see through their elevation all the way to the global top. So the Mike Aggrey presidency will see that our participation in international games, both Commonwealth and Olympics, will have a better representation. That's for sure.
Okay. And
Perhaps if you are not a lover of hockey or something, you wouldn't know him that much. The man himself is here. Let him tell us, who is Mr. Richard Akpokavi?
That's a big question. I was born 65 years ago. This is me, 65 years ago.
yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I've been involved in sports. I was born in Accra, but lived in Tema, and still live in Tema. Went to school in Tema, ended up in Achimota School, University of Ghana, and then the law school, and then became a private legal practitioner. I've been practicing now for the last 37 years, I believe. So I should tell you, I'm an old man, really.
Yeah.
But in sports, in terms of sports, I mean, Tema I played Colts, Becca Stars, Dumas Babies. And then, when you go to secondary school at that time, you are exposed to all kinds of sports.
Nice.
Cricket, basketball, volleyball, swimming, whatever. So I got involved in several sports, and I took a liking to hockey. I mean, those times, the equipment was all over the school.
I see.
For Achimota School.
Yeah.
So I took a liking to hockey, and somehow God gave me some gifts too. So I was good, such that when I was 16 years old, in Form 3, I was invited to the national team, to join the national team. So that's my first taste of national hockey. So I played the national team, captained the national junior team for the African Championships, played for the national team, captained the national team from 1983 to 1994, before I retired formally.
Wow.
Coached teams to the club championships, umpired, technical official. I'm still a technical official, even though I'm retiring this year officially. I officiated at the Commonwealth Games, at the World Hockey Championships. And then I was in administration, Greater Accra Hockey Association, and then Ghana Hockey Association member, vice president, president, and then I got involved in the GHOne.
Wow.
In 2011 as Secretary General, and then for 8 years, and then I left. For the last 4 years, I've been out. So my life with sports has just been phenomenal.
What really inspired you or motivated you to say, okay, this is the right time for me, this is the time that I think I should vie for this particular position?
Mainly because I want to give back. I mean, sports has been my life and contributed to most of the things I've achieved in life. And the only way you can give back is to be in administration, so that you give back to the athletes who are really, so the people who really motivate me every time are the athletes. I mean, when I was in hockey, I mean, it's a joy to see the young people training, doing all, sacrificing to get to the top, and see how you can help them.
Yeah.
And when there's victory at the end, you see the joy in their face. I mean, it makes you, it's better than anything you can think. So that's really what has kept me going. And that's what keeps me going. That we need to give back to the sport and make sports better. There are so many things we can do better.
Yeah.
Because there are challenges, of course, like everywhere else. But we can do some things better. And if we can do it better, and I think I have the capacity to do that, why not? I think I should do that.
Right.
I know this is the second time you're vying to be the president. You did stand with Ben Numensa in his last term,
4 years ago.
4 years ago,
ago.
exactly. So, what didn't you do right to get the nod when you stood 4 years ago that you think you're doing right this time, or you've put in right this time, that you believe you can come up against Mike Aggrah to be voted as the next president?
I think the better question is, look, when we stood 4 years ago, Ben had been in office for 4 years. The delegates felt that he needed a further 4 years.
Yeah.
And I respect that. So it wasn't about something I did right or wrong, but in my interaction with them, we got the impression that they wanted him for a further 4 years. So that was fair. And I didn't have a problem with that. I'm a sports person. So I respect competition and the outcomes of competitions. So I didn't have a problem with that. Currently, in my interaction with the federation presidents, the federation officials and everything, athletes and whatnot, I get the feeling that they think that it's time for me now to also take the position. And so it encourages me and motivates me to want to do more, because I believe that having tasted other people, they think that, okay, and having experienced me as a Secretary General for 8 years, they know me enough to know that I'm capable of doing a lot of things to make sports better in Ghana.
Okay. And Richie, also, what do you think are some of the challenges that, with regards to the Olympics? You've been a Secretary General. You've seen the likes of Mike Aggrah also coming even on board, who was on the board of the Olympics. What do you think you're going to do to put in place to ensure that when voted into office, most of the challenges that we hear, the hue and cry about lack of funds in preparations for the Olympic Games, is nipped in the bud?
What I think we can do better, and which will make us be able to get, I don't call it sponsorship, I prefer to call them partnerships. Because we want people who partner us from now till 2028 Olympics. Clearly, what is our plan? Our plan is this: 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our plan. This is what we want to achieve in athletics, in boxing, in karate do, in hockey, in rugby, in weightlifting, in whatever sport. This is our plan. What do you think you can do to support us? You can choose a particular sport, or you want to do for general thing for everybody. That's fine. But we want to do it in such a way that we are prioritizing what we are doing, because there's no, endless source of resources.
Exactly.
So what we want to do is such that when we do it, who are those who are likely to qualify for the Olympics based on performance in the past and based upon what they are doing now?
Currently.
If there are athletes who have not won African championships, the likelihood of them getting far at the Olympics is very slim. So the first thing is that the African championships, we must make sure that we are doing.
Right, so you're live here on GHOne TV, and you heard both candidates, their vision they've shared so far. We still have in the house the Honorable Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams, as well as the Director General for the National Sports Authority, Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah. and our very own COO, Mr. Santok Singh, and the other federation heads also who are still here. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but then let me pick thoughts of Honorable Kofi Adams before he leaves us. About he's had both Mike Agre and then Richard Akpokabi Esquire. What he has to say about most of your visions they've shared so far, Honorable.
Well, let me, even before I comment on what's been said by these two forerunners for this presidency of GOC, commend GHOne and the EIB network for putting this together and the interviews that you've done with these persons to try to bring out what they represent beyond their own engagements that they've had with the federation heads. And I think listening to them, they presented very good ideas. It's my prayer that they see to its implementation. Both have, for me, great ideas. They have good intentions, but we can't elect two presidents, so we can only elect one at a time. And what I would ask of them is that whoever wins should embrace the other, and whoever doesn't make it should accept to be embraced, so that it is Ghana that we are working for, and it's Ghana we want to push further high when it comes to sports. I don't have a vote, like I've said earlier. I wish I had one, but I don't. And the federation heads who are delegates know them better, and they must go there with a convinced mind, not any other consideration, but based on what they know of them, and allow that to decide. And that is the only way we can grow our sport. But one of them talked about the need to unite the federations, and it's very important. If you don't unite, if you don't speak with one voice, you would have a challenge. I'm not saying don't criticize each other. As for that one, once you are a groupings of different persons, surely there will be differences, and we must allow voices of dissent to be heard. But then you also need, when you have to synchronize your voice. I remember one thing His Excellency the President talked about during the Sunyani Congress of the National Democratic Congress, where late President Mills and Nana Konadu Ajima Rawlings were in a contest. He talked about three bets, Tika, Taka, and Gangali, coming together, and they were singing so well, and he synchronized, and they were getting a lot of money. People were donating to them. Then he got to a point, Tika thought he was the best, that it was he alone, his sound was what was bringing the money. So he should be allowed to go. Taka thought he's the one, and Gangali said, no, didn't you see that at the time I sang, that was when money dropped into the bowl, so I am the one. So they separated. Each one of them was making his own sound separate, and each of them was toned. But when they were together, it was melodious, and it was inviting contribution to them. So the federation should understand that Ghana is what we all are representing. And if there is any one of them whose corporate governance is not up to standard, this is the time they should see that there's a need to work on that, because the corporates would not come and put money in a disorganized federation, or a federation that is not giving its best out there and always attracting negativity. So it's important they work on it. We will support. I believe that the NSA already has its work cut out for them to be able to do to improve this corporate governance among the federations. We at the ministry have already initiated a plan to meet even the federations soon. And I'm happy that this will be coming after the GOC elections. Then together, we will have all these engagements. But I can only wish them well. We're behind them, and we want our sports to grow. We want to compete at the Olympic level and win, not just participate and then hold the flag and come back. we want to win and win and win very well at various spheres. So it's a good thing. Once again, EIB, we thank you for your interest in the less financed sports. Through all these interventions, I believe that funding will come their way. And I want to invite you that when we finally agree and launch also the sports fund, I would wish that you champion it also, because through that, we can do proper redistribution to support the federations. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So there we had the Honorable Minister himself telling us it's all about one Ghana. So there's no need to be those tiki-taka thing. We have to be united. Anybody that is selected will lead or champion the cause for the Ghana Olympic Committee, and it all stands for one Ghana. But we also have to take a lesson to the NSA director himself, Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah, on his thoughts after the presentation by Mike Aggrey and Richard Akpokavi.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think our Honourable Minister has said it all, but obviously the positive thing is that we have two very strong candidates. I would wish that after the contest, they would both be involved in the resuscitation of Ghana sports. I've had the privilege of working with both of them, and they are very remarkable men who've achieved a lot in their own fields, and they're bringing that expertise into sports. These are two men who've been athletes and risen through the ranks as administrators, so they know the challenges in sports and the difficulties that federations and associations face. I would hope also that after all of this, that unity, which has been somewhat missing in Ghana sports, would be brought in. Let's build on the legacy of the president, Benunu Mensah. Let's not destroy what he has built. Let's learn from his shortcomings and then make the GOC better. We need a strong, vibrant GOC. We need a strong, vibrant National Sports Authority, and the ministry is there to help. I think the sports federations also have a responsibility to do the right thing, especially when it comes to governance and putting their house in order. We have about 53 federations, and you would have to be honest that if we were to go by the tenets of, sports governance, maybe less than a dozen would qualify. So we need to be honest and do the right thing. And the least financed sports, as Santok said, it is least financed, not lesser known, because we used to call it lesser known, but swimming once upon a time was called lesser known. Globally, swimming is one of the biggest sports in the world. You talk about weightlifting, it was called the lesser known. It is not. It is one of the big multi-million-dollar sports globally. So we need to look at that and see how we can inject the right funding in Ghana. Rugby is another sport that is growing. Beach sports with beach volleyball, beach soccer. We need to make sure that we have the right people, and EIB doing the right thing by coming on board, initiating, leading. We had the minister here, with corporate, media, and sports federations. We need to work together closely to ensure that we're able to build sports and take it to a different level.
Right. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together. So in all, they both preach about unity.
Exactly.
Is the most important thing.
Yeah. So the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams, had to leave us. He has to attend to other
Still,
important
the CAF African Championship is still ongoing. Ghana, the women's team are playing. So
we hope they win that game. So most of the federation heads are here. Santok is also here, still with us. But I'm sure the Director General will also be taking leave of us pretty soon. We're almost wrapping up the show, though. But then you heard from the two who are standing for the presidency. And there are a few also who are standing for other positions also in the Ghana Olympic Committee. We would be telling you about those positions as well, and those who are vying for the roles as well. So don't go anywhere. We're still live here. We'll try and engage a few of the federation heads who are here. Most importantly and notably, the women in sports, right?
Yeah. We are standing for the women, so we'll have to take a lesson to them to hear what they're also expecting from the next committee president.
Exactly, and also we've got weightlifting in the house, Monica. Though esports is not yet, ratified when it comes to the Olympics. They are doing frantic. They are making frantic efforts to ensure that esports, is big.
It's big.
We have the head here also, Igor. We definitely.
You also share a word with us.
Exactly, we've got a few of them also here to talk to us. So yeah. Wherever you're watching us from, it's still live here on GHOne TV. We're bringing you the road to the Olympic House. That's what we've been bringing you here on the show. So don't go anywhere. We're taking a quick breather. When we come back, we'll engage the federation heads. All right, so you're still live here on GHOne TV. It's the road to the Olympics. You've heard the Honorable Sports Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams, who joined us in the studio, as well as the Director General for the National Sports Authority, Mr. Yaw Ampofo Ankrah, and our very own COO, Santok Singh. And you listened to both candidates who are standing for the presidency. I'm talking about Mike Aggrah and Richard Akpokavie Esquire, what their vision is ahead of Saturday. Well, so I've got a few people in the house also who will be talking about it. This lady, she's still a young lady, sweet 16, you want to call her. So, Madam Joyce Mahama, when you talk of sports and championing women's sports, she's been doing this for years. Those of you in women's sports might know her very well. She's joined us here. We'll be talking a lot. She's got a lot to say and who she'll be voting for. She will not tell me who her vote is going to go for anyway. Good to have you here, Mommy.
Thank you.
It's been a long while, and you've been in the movement for years.
Oh, yes.
You're still going.
Yes.
Anyway, tell us what your impression so far about Richard Akpokavie Esquire and also Mike Aggrah ahead of Saturday.
I think the both of them are very good candidates. When they all win, I'm sure they'll move the Olympic and Ghana sports forward. But what I'm saying is that the best candidate should win. I'm not saying this or that, but what I will plead with them is that anytime they win or whoever wins should consider the women. They should make sure the women are well catered for, the women athletes are well catered for. They shouldn't know now in Africa, I'm also the president of African Women in Sports. Now we just fighting. There's a lot of violence against women athletes. So we're just pleading that women in sports should not be bullied. They should be given the chance. And I'll plead with our women who are into sports or different federations that they should vie for a higher position. You know, you can't get to the Olympic family or movement when you are in the grassroots like that within your federation. You should come up. You should either be the president, secretary general. You see, treasurer, you should be in some position to move to the Olympic. All that federation heads that you see within the Olympic movement are within some standards. So I will plead with the women to make sure they get to that positions and then they can join. Now for the election that is going to come on Saturday, we have only 3 women contesting, which is very bad. You know, the International Olympic Committee has advised that we should get 30% women. But how can we get 3? So I'm pleading with the candidates, my fellow federation heads, please, When you vote for the others, vote for the 3 women for me. I beg you, vote for them. That we have, because when you have even 3 women, I don't think it forms a good percentage required by the International Olympic Committee. And now that we have a woman as the president
of IOC
and an African woman as the president,
Yeah.
I think we should do better.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Joyce Mahama. I think Monica will be engaging the other gentleman soon. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not the only person here. We also have an investor in weightlifting, Kelvin Frey. He's also here with us. Kelvin, I know you are not a candidate, or you are not voting a delegate to vote, and neither is your sport in the Olympics, but you've started something so well in Ghana here. Tell me, what will be your expectation from these 2 candidates who are vying for the Olympic committee president?
Sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. And as the CEO of Just Keep Going Incorporated, I think the first thing I want to say is Joyce here is absolutely right. As a nation, people really have to look at the statistics of what female athletes are able to go on and accomplish. 96% of female C-level executives have a background in athletics. And for all the men out there that don't want to work, 68% of women who make more than $100,000 a year are former athletes.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's get out there and support the female athletics. It's really, really important.
Thank you.
And as an investor, as a supporter of sports, I work with powerful and strong women. The women who support the athletes, they're C-level executives. Kennedy Shaw, the CEO of Rejuve Biotech, for instance, has sponsored Marie Agba Hughes here, female national record holder for weightlifting. And it's relationships and developments like that are really going to take not only female sports, but sports in general in Ghana to a level never before seen here. It's a level of inclusion, of advocacy that really creates a structure where investors are comfortable coming in and saying, here, I'm going to put my money here because I know it's going to be well spent. I know it's going to get to the athletes. I know these athletes are going to get to competition without a hitch. And as long as those things happen, I mean, the future of sport in Ghana is bright. There's just a few maybe turns to the key that need to be had before, some of those things are able to be seen cross-sport.
Right, so there you heard him, Kevin Frey himself, an investor in weightlifting, sharing his thoughts. But it's been great having you all here and the heads of federations as well. Anybody that came to support this initiative, the EIB Network, as always, like our CEO said, Santok Singh, we always stand with the least financed sports. Joel. Exactly.
Let me say thanks to Igor Obomekpo. He is actually Ghana Esports Federation. He is the head of the Ghana Esports Federation. They're trying hard as they can. Igor started this years ago, and he's really fought through it to see the Esports Ghana Federation come this far. He also joined us here. I see rugby also here in the program. I see Mr. Haywood Okai. He's the Deputy Communications Head at the Ghana Olympic Committee. For your information, the Director General used to be the Communications Head of the Ghana Olympic Committee. The Director General for the National Sports Authority, Yaw Ampofo Ankrah, used to be the Communications Head at the GHOne. So his presence here really spelled a lot for us because he understands better the communications at the GHOne and the challenges and the issues that goes on there. So expounding whatever he did for us was the best. And also we want to say thank you to everybody who played a key role to make this show a success. Thanks to the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams, gracing this occasion and ensuring that it was a success. And also our management here, to the COO, Mr. Santok Singh, as well as the CEO, Polare, Mr. Kwabna Edisi, and as well as our very own general manager, Nanaya Sapong. So we want to say thank you to all of you who did support this program. It's been an honor coming your way. This is what we'll be doing to help develop most of the disciplines in the country. We can't but do this little to also, contribute to our quota as a media house. You heard our COO, and also as journalists. So we are urging most of our colleagues out there, listen, it's not just about football. Get to know. I said this yesterday, and I'll keep reiterating it. If you have a brother or a sister who plays the other disciplines, and you only chase football, when you get home, how would you feel if you're not reporting the sport he or she is playing? Well, that's a little for you all out there, journalists like myself, who's been following just one particular sport and leaving the others to their fate. Anyway, Monica, that's how we wrap up the show, right?
Where we say many thanks to the production team as well and the technical crew as well. Tomorrow, we come your way same time at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on The Game. And as always, on social media, X, do follow us and let's get interactive. Tomorrow, we give you the opportunity to also, not to say someone's name or a player's name, but to also come out with what your thoughts are on the presidency at the Olympic Committee. Until same time tomorrow, we come your way. We say have a blessed day.
All right. Bye-bye from us.